All right. So Candace Owens was fired from the Daily Wire today. Everyone's talking about this. And I have waited for a few hours before we did the podcast here until all of this settled because I wanted to see what everyone's take was on it. And everyone, Benny Johnson, Dave Rubin, Doug TenNapel, everyone who's talking about Candace Owens being fired, they're missing what happened here. Candace Owens wanted to get fired. When this first started, when she started talking about her not supporting Israel, and remember a few months ago, Candace Owens was talking about something very stupid. She thought that Muslims were segregated, and remember all that stuff?
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay. I talked about it then, did a show on it, and said she wants to get fired. When Candace Owens first signed the deal with the Daily Wire, we did a show on it, and I said then she's making a mistake. Because Candace Owens, before she went to the Daily Wire, was one of the most influential women in America. Mm-hmm. And and I said at the time, Ben Shapiro, who is a never Trumper, and don't buy all this BS. These stories today. Ben Shapiro doesn't have the authority or power to fire Candace Owens. He has no influence. This was Jeremy Boring. Believe me, Ben Shapiro has got a lot of juice there. He's a founder and all this stuff. When she went to the Daily Wire, and we talked about it on that show, which was, I don't know how long ago it's been since she's went there now. It seems like a couple years. I said to you, Kathy, I talked to you guys in the audience, did a whole show on this. I said, Ben Shapiro is a never Trumper, and they are hiring Candace Owens at the Daily Wire to take her out of circulation for promoting Trump. Remember, she had that Blexit thing she was doing, they had like Blexit in the UK. She was doing the black version of it here. And that got shut down, that tour, because of COVID, right? She couldn't.
Yeah, you were going to go see her with Emily.
I was going to take our daughter to meet Candace Owens, and it couldn't do it because it got canceled because of COVID. And I said they are hiring her away to control her, and that her influence will diminish, and it has. And I know people say, "No, she's not. She's famous."
Here's what happened with
let me finish, Kat. Before she went to the Daily Wire, let me finish, and we'll get to that. Before she went to the Daily Wire, there was hardly a day that she wasn't in the news trending about some particular issue. She is still very famous, but she's not influencing like she was since she went to the Daily Wire. And that was a move by the Never Trumpers to shut her down because they were trying to stop Trump, and she was helping Trump. And no one knows what her contract and what her deal has been with the Daily Wire, but she is without question been spending the last few months trying to get out of that contract.
Yeah, I think
by
that's
getting
what this
fired.
is all about. And this is the way it is and I'm not her biggest fan, but honestly, I'll say I think you're right that she did this to get fired. Here's what happened is Ben Shapiro is a very insecure small man, and he saw her light shining much brighter than his, and he didn't like it. And he's not just that way with her. He's that way with all these people that are in this realm. But for some reason, he really didn't want her, like you said, to be catapulted, and he gave her a contract to control her. That's exactly right. And then he gave her a glam squad and show and all this stuff. But you don't, because she's under contract with him and the Daily Wire and all that, they control her social media. They control what she can say and do. And now she said she's free, and she is free. And I think that it says a lot about him as a person that he fired her because she has a difference of opinion. And this is all about the Israeli-Hamas thing. And I think she played him. I think she said it to get fired, to get out of her contract. It was a smart move on her part. She doesn't need him. She's in with all these other people. Believe me, they might, Dave Rubin is trashing her, whatever. They might come out initially and feel the need to choose a side, because that's what people kind of do in these situations. But I hope they don't, because you don't want to burn bridges. And choosing a side right away automatically is never a good idea. It's better to be neutral and just be friendly with everybody. And you know what I mean? But I'm predicting she's already, I subscribed to her YouTube channel, and there were a lot of comments in there. I read comments on her channel and the Daily Wire, and everybody is pissed at Shapiro, saying that he fired her because she doesn't agree with his opinion on things, and that they're unsubscribing from the Daily Wire. They're going to lose a lot of subscribers. So I think they're going to try to replace her. And I'm wondering if Trump's going to hire her to, remember Omarosa he hired to help with the black vote? I wonder if he's going to give her a job now.
Well,
for that reason.
A few things. We'll talk about Shapiro, then her and Trump. I don't agree with anything she said about Israel.
No, okay? I don't either.
Candace Owens, at least the things she's saying are anti-Semitic. And I know a lot.
Yeah, and she's not educated on that whole issue.
And she makes this moral equivalency between Ukraine support and Israel support. It's a completely different thing.
I don't agree with her either.
And using anti-Semitism to get out of the contract and get fired, I think was stupid, because she's going to be labeled that. And the way she has been talking is anti-Semitic. I'm sorry to tell you. She has been, but she knew that was the Achilles heel for Ben Shapiro. That would work, and that got her what she wanted. Now,
her videos on YouTube get hundreds of thousands of views.
Absolutely.
She is extremely popular.
Oh yeah, she's huge.
She is very well liked. She's been around for a while, and she has built up a huge fan base.
Oh yeah.
And ever since she joined with Shapiro, I never hear from her. You have to subscribe to watch her content.
You get a little bit of it on YouTube.
So now she'll be all over the place. She'll be like Tucker.
But the thing, maybe the thing about but the thing about Candace Owens with this Israel position, if she were smart, she'd start talking about other things, because what happens, there's no doubt in my mind, she wanted to get fired. She used the Israeli thing to get fired.
I agree.
But what happens a lot of times is that when somebody gets embroiled in a controversy like that, and then they're out like she is, that becomes like their cause celeb. So I hope she doesn't make this anti-Israel thing her issue.
I don't think she will.
But the other thing with
I think she just used it to get out of that contract.
The other thing with Candace Owens, okay, that I don't like, okay, and let's not forget about this. A while back, she did a long monologue trashing Trump about how he was rude to her and didn't take her advice. And all of this.
She waffles. She waffles a little bit.
And then she was at one of the UFC fights Trump was at recently, and she was sucking up to Trump.
Yeah, she goes back
everything
and
else.
forth.
So, what Candace Owens does, and she's very smart about this, okay? She's a troll, and she knows how to get herself trending on a whim on social media, and she says and does a lot of things that she doesn't, I don't think, believe, but she knows it'll get her trending.
She used to be in the Daily Mail all the time for trolling people, and I have a feeling Ben Shapiro and you got the Daily Wire, and you got all these guys sitting around smoking cigars, yucking it up. Yeah. They're a bunch of jerks, and they probably really controlled her. And I don't agree with a lot of things she says, and like I said, I'm not her biggest fan either, but I'm going to call it out like it is. And she probably was like, look, they're not even letting me, say what I want to say, and I'm not trending anymore, and nobody's talking about me anymore.
That's right.
And, that was done by design of them.
Well, that's why they hired
keep her quiet.
That's why they hired her.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So when I said what she did was smart, I think it was a smart move to get out of her contract. I don't know how long of a contract she had with them, but I don't know how it works with the non-compete if they fire you, if that's still in play.
Might
not be.
We don't know what her deal is, but I know people that have had non-competes and have gotten fired and still have the non-competes. This happens all the time.
Really?
But the thing with Candace Owens, and this is very important, guy, because most MAGA people like us do not like Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is not likable. He's very arrogant. He talks as fast as an auctioneer, and he's a never Trumper.
Does your audience like him or no?
I don't. You guys let us know in the comments if you like Ben Shapiro.
Have you had people call in and
yeah, most people I know don't like Ben Shapiro for the same reasons I don't like Ben Shapiro.
Your personal gauge.
Plus, he's a never Trumper, right? Remember, in the first campaign, he wrote a column, and it was titled "Why I Will Never Vote for Donald Trump." Right? Remember this? Now, the thing about Shapiro in that, Candace Owens is a never Trumper too. in the beginning of the first campaign, before she was famous, she kind of started out, she was doing blogging and was on Periscope. And during the first campaign, this is before she got red-pilled, she was a never-Trumper. And remember when they were making comments about the size of Trump's hands, Marco Rubio and all that? She was doing that. And then she supposedly got red-pilled and all this stuff. And that was her, Candace Owens, her whole time that she's been a public person from the moment she started has all been about being famous and influential.
She has no convictions.
So, that's right.
Her conviction is money and fame and power. And that is it. And she will say whatever she has to say to get there. I mean, that's how she is.
So me personally, okay, if she goes and works for Trump, I'm going to support anything Trump does. Trump knows what he's doing.
Do you think he should hire her?
I don't know. I don't know. But don't let don't let your dislike of Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire make you automatically support her. Think about it, because she was a never Trumper in the beginning. Then she was with us, and then she a few months ago was trashing Trump. Okay, so and became a never Trumper again.
Well, one thing we can count on with her is she's very inconsistent, and like I said, her main focus is promoting her brand. Hey, that's the way America is, but you have to know going in that that's how she is. But I think Shapiro and them, like you said, wanted to control her. She was a very fast rising star, shining much brighter than him. And I think he got very threatened by her.
She's been out for a while. I mean, she's obviously she's famous, but every day she's been at the Daily Wire, that's a little less influential she's become. And I told you, like I said at the beginning of the program, the day that it was announced that she signed the deal, I said these are the never Trumpers who are trying to control her because she's driving so many blacks to supporting Trump. Let me go through this. This is in The Hill. Okay, they have an article on this. Conservative commentator Candace Owens is out at the Daily Wire. In a social media post on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, Daily Wire co-founder Jeremy Boring wrote, Daily Wire and Candace Owens have ended their relationship. Boring did not provide any additional details on what led to the separation. The Hill has reached out to the Daily Wire for additional comment. Owens confirmed the news, writing in a post of her own, the rumors are true. I am finally free. So she's kind of like taking a little spin on Martin Luther King there. The announcement comes after weeks of chatter about the relationship between Owens, one of the most prominent commentators on the right, and the Daily Wire, a growing hub for conservative podcasts, streaming shows, and other forms of new media. Owens has sparked backlash for months with her commentary on the U.S. role in the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas and statements about Jewish people in politics more generally. After the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, highlighted the fact that white supremacist Nick Fuentes was praising Owens' rhetoric on Jews, she responded on X, I do not know Nick Fuentes, but you already know that. Okay, let me stop there. This Nick Fuentes is some young kid, and they promote him. I know he got in with Kanye and scammed his way into Mar-a-Lago with Kanye, but these people, who cares what this kid, Nick Fuentes, says? And so far as someone praising you, anyone, remember when Trump ran the first time and CNN brings David Duke on and then David Duke's praising Trump. You can't help who praises you, and
you've had issues with that too on the radio. And you'll say, I can't help who listens and who calls my show.
I can't, so
I mean, how you can't control that? It's open to the public.
So this whole idea that because someone praises you, which is really a form of trolling, you're responsible for them.
It's insane.
So the ADL started going after her. What I do know is that everyone can see what you guys are doing to me. Your pattern as well as this is Candace Owens talking, okay? What I do know is that everyone can see what you guys are doing to me. It's Candace talking about the ADL. Your pattern is well established and the world is waking up to it. My crime is having stood up for myself against your network of smears, she wrote of the ADL. My crime is that I do not believe that American taxpayers should have to pay for Israel's wars or the wars of any other country. I will not change my mind. So the question is, what will you do to me next? The world is watching. And just on a side note, I don't want to get sidetracked on Israel, because I support Israel, and she's completely wrong about that. And I don't think Candace Owens is – I I wouldn't say she's anti-Semitic. I just think she's uneducated on the issue, and she doesn't understand Israel, and she thinks there's this equivalency between Israel and Ukraine.
A lot of people her age think like her.
Yeah, she just doesn't have she just is not knowledgeable on it, okay? She just isn't. It's not I know it sounds anti-Semitic. I'm not maybe
it's just ignorance.
It's on that topic, it's ignorance. On that topic, yes. Right. Candace Owens has sparked criticism internally at the Daily Wire. This is in The Hill I'm reading from, with prominent host Ben Shapiro, who is Jewish, last fall, calling her rhetoric on Israel and Hamas disgraceful. That sparked Jeremy Boring to issue a statement saying the company would not fire Candace based on a desire not to regulate the speech of our host, even when we disagree with them. Candace is paid to give her opinion, not mine or Ben's, he wrote at the time. Okay, so that's
so what do you think has changed? Like I said, I don't even hear from her or follow her, and I would not be surprised if the Daily Wire had the Daily Mail squash stories about her.
This is what I think happened. Okay,
something must have happened though that finally was the nail in the coffin.
I stand by my position and belief based on following this for the last few months, because I said this months ago when it first started.
Yeah,
she was trying to get fired. She wanted out of her contract. She wanted to be on her own. Okay. And, when you work for the Daily Wire, we got a little look at how those contracts work from Steven Crowder. They get all the revenue from everything you do. I'm sure she was paid a good salary, but she's generating a lot more revenue than she's being paid, probably, and she's losing freedom. And this is what I think happened. The ADL is the Anti-Defamation League is a very left-wing organization. Okay, they always take liberal positions. They always go after conservatives. They always have. And Ben Shapiro, this will come off wrong, but I'm going to share with you. Okay, Ben Shapiro, he doesn't live too far from where Kathy and I live. Okay, we live kind of in the same area, and he lives in an almost 100% Jewish world. Okay. And that's fine. I'm not saying that that's a problem, but what I'm telling you is he's surrounded by people that have been telling him Candace Owens is anti-Semitic. Candace Owens is anti-Semitic, and
I'm sure he's getting a lot of heat for having her there.
And his friends and his circle,
peer pressure has a lot to do with these
everything
things.
else have been. Me personally, and Kathy will tell you this. When I'm not on the air. If I'm not doing the show or anything else, I don't have conversations with people off the air about politics or the show.
No, never.
And when you're in a business
just me.
Yeah, just Kathy. When you're in a business like this, you probably have heard me mention this from time to time. People, and it's not just me. This has been Shapiro. This is Benny Johnson. This is Doug TenNapel. This is anybody. This is Sean Hannity. Anytime you do a show like this, people are constantly saying this to you. You should talk about this.
Now you're more isolated now. You're kind of a one-man band,
I isolate
right?
myself.
But you used to be on a radio station, FTL, that had a lot of personalities, and your guys' lives were very this was when we first got married too. I remember when we first got married, and I got pulled into this nonsense too, and it was very upsetting. And you're like, I'm sorry, this is the way it is. If you're going to be married to me,
public life. Yeah,
your life was very intertwined with the people you worked with because you were working together. There were a lot of egos involved, and it was very different than how things are now.
Yeah, and Ben Shapiro. What I mean is the world in which Ben Shapiro lives in. He doesn't insulate himself. And he's living in a community where people have been telling him for months, Candace Owens is anti-Semitic.
Yeah, she's got to go.
And she doesn't support Israel. And you got to understand just this about Israel. Israel exists today because the Nazis were trying to exterminate Jews from the planet Earth. Okay? And I know a lot of people talk about Zionist and Zionism like it's a negative thing. It is not a negative thing. And when Hitler started rounding up the Jews, no country in the world would take the Jews in, including the United States. The United States would not allow Jews from Europe to enter this country.
They had nowhere to go.
Jews came to this country and were turned away, and some of them died in concentration camps. In countries in Europe, they were handing their Jews over.
Yeah.
So Israel was established in 1948 so that if something like that ever began, Jews would have a place to go.
Mm-hmm.
So,
not to mention that God gave it to Abraham.
Well, of course, long ago, but
okay, and Sarah.
But so when you're talking about the Jewish community in this country and Ben Shapiro, you're talking about people that are trying to preserve the Jews that Hitler was trying to exterminate, and Hamas, who's of course funded by Iran, and we fund Iran. You know, the Iran and Hamas and Hezbollah and all this stuff, they're trying to finish what Hitler started. You got to understand this. So, and that's true. That is a reality. And Ben Shapiro and his friends and his circles and everybody that he travels around with in his orbit, they're in a world of that. And if you remember just a few weeks ago, I can't remember exactly what he had said, but Elon Musk had made some comments, and Ben Shapiro flew to Auschwitz with Elon Musk so Elon Musk could learn about the Holocaust. And it was a big moment for Elon Musk. It was just a couple weeks ago. So when you're working with and for someone who is, that's their life mission, and you start trashing Israel.
Well, I understand.
This is going to happen.
I understand his point of view. You know, it doesn't make him look good when his whole identity and is so important to him. You know, our generation grew up with Holocaust survivors. I mean, they would come to my school. We would see them at the grocery store. They were everywhere. A lot of them lived in South Florida. A lot of them, because they were older. There were a lot of World War II veterans here. I mean, my mom, most of her patients were in World War II when I was like in high school. It was a big part of, you'd see stories about them on the news. The younger generation is removed from that. They don't have, I mean, I remember my grandmother talking to me about World War II and how they had to ration and all this, but I don't think we really talked to Emily too much about it because, you know what I mean? So the millennials and Gen Z don't have that connection that
it's ancient history.
You know, like
them.
I knew people, like your grandfather fought in World War II, and you knew him. You talked to him.
Well, here in Florida,
but Emily doesn't know anybody that fought in World War II, or neither does I mean, they're just removed from that.
Here in Florida, because everybody retires here, we have a large Jewish population in Florida, and when Kathy and I were all the way through high school, it was not unusual to see people in public that had the numbers on their wrist
all the time.
From the concentration camp.
You worked at a grocery store, you saw them all the time.
If you went grocery shop, if you went to the mall, somebody would pay and you'd see the numbers on the wrist.
That's right.
So so what you're saying is right, Kathy. The millennials, it's to them, it's like ancient Egypt to them. It's just it's so long ago that it's not. They don't. But
they don't have those same connections that we do.
But this is Ben Shapiro's life. And as much as I despise Ben Shapiro, I do not like Ben Shapiro. He also believes that President Trump had sex with Stormy Daniels. Shapiro.
I don't like Shapiro.
So I don't like this guy at all. But I do, and I don't support much of anything about that guy, but I do agree with him on Israel. Now, with all that being said, I've watched what pretty much everybody said today. And most I'm going to play one here in a minute, though, that was interesting because Dave Rubin, he was really going off. And, you know, Dave Rubin.
He's another never-Trumper.
You know, Dave Rubin, he's a never-Trumper. He's all in. His thing was DeSantis. But, you know, Dave Rubin's gay, but he's kind of – I know he's a little metrosexual and all, but he's kind of he's not very effeminate, you know. But when he starts talking about this Candace Owens thing, he's talking like a girl, all right, very gossipy. I'll play for you in a minute. But I listened to Benny Johnson and a few others, and a lot of these conservative influencers, they're not really taking a position on it because they don't know where Candace Owens is going to land.
Well, they're smart.
And
they shouldn't.
And so they're all talking about it, but they're afraid she's going to be with Trump or Vivek or somewhere.
No, they're smart to do that.
And, you know, here's the thing, though, about free speech. Free speech does not exist. I know everybody says that it does, and the First Amendment protects you from the government not limiting your speech, which they do anyway. There's all kinds of limitations. But especially when you work for someone, anytime you work for someone, there are certain limitations. Now, I'm very lucky. I don't have anybody telling me, if I did, I would tell you. I don't have anybody telling me you shouldn't talk about that, you can't talk about that. I have worked at radio stations in the past where that's happened. It hasn't happened to me in a long time.
No. I don't even really do that to you, do I? When you come home, once in a while, you'll say something, and I'll be like, maybe you went a little too far, but 99% of the time, I don't comment on.
What I mean is like
said.
management. I don't have anyone from management ever tell me.
No, you have like autonomy.
You can't talk about this or talk about that. Now, that has not always been the case when I was younger and starting out. That I dealt with that a lot. But Candace Owens was being paid a lot of money by the Daily Wire,
sure.
And what's that saying? He owns the gold, makes the rules.
My mom says that all the time.
And so, that's the way it is. And if you are working for someone whose life's mission is to make sure another Holocaust does not happen and save Israel, and you start attacking Israel and things, you're going to be out. Now, Candace Owens, I thought her announcement was a little odd, something she said. And what she said was, she's in a couple weeks, she's going to start doing her thing on her YouTube channel again. And then, and on Locals. And then she gave out her website and is asking people to become paid members. So she is immediately asking people to start donating money to her, which
it's a smart thing because she knows people are going to unsubscribe from the Daily Wire and she wants them to transfer that money to her.
Yeah.
Right away while it's in their mind, while it's fresh in their mind. So I'm sure they said, okay, we have to have a place for these people to go right away because they're going to unsubscribe to this. Some people will unsubscribe. And I've seen many, many comments in his thread and hers that they're unsubscribing from him because of this. So they need a place to put their $10 a month or whatever they give. And that's what she's giving them.
Well, I've never subscribed to the Daily Wire. I don't think their content's worthy of subscribing to, but the subscribers they have, the only thing that the Daily Wire has that I can see people saying I want to pay for that is Candace Owens. What else do they have?
I don't like any. I don't like Michael Knowles. I don't like any of those guys.
I don't either, and I don't like Michael Knowles, who has the hands of a woman.
Do they have any other women that work there? Or
Yeah,
is it just
they have that Brett Cooper that looks like the girl that looks like Ben Shapiro.
Oh, wow.
And they got her.
I wonder why he hired her.
He looks just like Ben Shapiro. And
remember that episode of Seinfeld where he dated Tracy Nelson?
Yeah, it's just like that.
And
it's just like
he
that.
Couldn't figure out. And then George said she looks exactly like you because he's like she's perfect for me.
Yeah,
and he said because she looks just like you.
It's just like that. But they've had a lot of controversies at the Daily Wire. That whole thing with Steven Crowder last year and everything else. This is
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
This is devastating news for the Daily Wire, in my opinion, because I don't know why. I don't even go to their website for news, and I turned on to I don't do this very often, but today in the car, before I even knew about this, I did something I've not done for months. I pulled up Ben Shapiro's podcast. Mm-hmm. I listened to it for less than 60 seconds, and I turned it off. I couldn't stand it.
I can't stand it.
And the only reason I waited 60 seconds is because it was pouring down rain. I wanted to wait till I got to a red light.
So let's say you had this huge media corporation like he does, and you had and you were, one of the top guys, and you had started it and all this, and you hired somebody who was repeatedly saying things that you were vehemently to your core so against that you took so personally as a personal affront, because I think his whole identity is wrapped up in
Israel,
in his Judaism.
Absolutely.
And all that. And that's fine. So say you had somebody on there that was very anti-Catholic or atheist, anti-Jesus. I would have a problem with that. I'm sorry, but he didn't know that when he hired her. This came up. So how do you handle that? Do you talk to her? You obviously have to let her have her own opinion. But I would say, I would just make it clear, I don't agree. Like you have a disclaimer for your radio show, the opinions of the host.
Yes.
I would say, look, I hired her. She has a contract. I'm not going to renew it because I vehemently disagree with her. She can go do her own thing. And I take it like a personal attack, whatever. But I'm not going to fire her for it. I just don't agree with that. I mean, that's how I would kind of handle it, but I don't think I'd pay her millions of dollars again.
See, this is the thing that I think it's hard for some people to understand that I hear talking about this today. When Candace Owens says, don't support Israel, I don't support Israel, the United States should not support Israel. From Ben Shapiro's viewpoint, she's talking like Hamas. She sounds like she's Iran, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And so, I mean, when she says that, and you say, well, I wouldn't take her off for that. I know,
but for him, it's super personal.
And it's easy to say that.
Yeah.
But if you have somebody that you're paying a lot of money to,
that's true, on
your platform, and they're saying the most offensive, terrible things.
I mean, I would have a problem.
He takes it personally.
The only thing I would have a problem with is if somebody was bashing Jesus.
Well, there you go. Well,
that would be a major issue for me.
I could not. I will tell you.
I could blasphemy. I couldn't handle it.
If I wouldn't
be able to tolerate that.
I worked at a radio station conglomerate that was owned by a guy named Bud Paxson, who was the founder of the Home Shopping Network. And he was an evangelical Christian, hardcore evangelical Southern Baptist Christian. And he owned a lot of radio stations. And a lot of those radio stations, they were like, morning jocks, and there were a lot of liberals on them. And he sent out a memorandum that no one was allowed to take the Lord's name in vain on the air.
I remember that.
And if someone took the Lord's name in vain, they would be terminated without question.
Oh, he's the boss.
And he owned the radio, and that was a big problem for a lot of people. So I would say that if I owned a platform like the Daily Wire, and I had somebody on the air that I was paying a lot of money to, and they spent their program bashing Jesus and things like that. I mean, hardcore.
Yeah, I'd have a problem.
That would be difficult. Well, that's how Ben Shapiro
he sees it that as long as he's paying her, he's condoning it.
That's correct. But the thing about it, where he's very, I think, they made a bad decision, is that they were manipulated by her. I really don't think she's anti-Semitic. I think she's uninformed on Israel. But it's like, I don't support us supporting Ukraine. I'm not anti the Ukrainian people. I just don't think it's our business. It doesn't mean I'm anti-Ukrainian. I just don't think we should be in that war.
Well, now they've made her a martyr.
But what Candace Owens did is what she always does.
Yep.
She manipulates people and gets lots of attention for it.
Yep. She's very good at it.
Instead of Cardi B, who's a moron, she did it to Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Boring. So I wouldn't, in the same breath, I wouldn't let myself be manipulated like that. And I would find a way to handle it better. Yeah, but now I think what you said though is a good point. Now, when we get back from the break, I'm going to play this thing with Dave Rubin, and then we've got a lot of other things.
What did I say that was a good
talk
point?
about. I'm going to tell you as we go into the break.
Oh, okay, good.
I'm going to get into this thing with Dave Rubin when we get back, so don't miss that. And then there's a lot of other issues we're going to talk about today, not just this. So we'll start to get into some other stuff, but I want to play this Dave Rubin thing. But what you had brought up, Kathy, what if somebody was attacking Jesus on a regular basis and all of that and
mocking,
So I would feel like I was sinning if I was paying them and I was condoning it and I was doing everything else. That would be. Let us know in the comments, those of you who are Christians, if you had a platform like the Daily Wire that you own and paid somebody a lot of money, and they spent their show denying Jesus, bashing Jesus, committing hardcore blasphemy,
I'd have a problem.
What would you do? What would you do? All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, I'll play the Dave Rubin thing, but then there's a lot of other topics we're going to get into today too, okay? There's a lot to cover. Don't go anywhere.
Take a journey of self-discovery and fulfillment in the book from author Kamal Mistry, The Pursuit of You. Open your eyes in the pursuit of happiness. Available on Amazon. Life is full of mysteries and uncertainties, but within those uncertainties lies the power to create your own future. The Pursuit of You will help you navigate the complexities of modern life. It offers practical wisdom as well as motivation for living a harmonious and fulfilling existence. When you read The Pursuit of You, you'll learn how to nurture your inner strength, find clarity and purpose, and cultivate meaningful relationships that enrich your life. You'll learn to prioritize self-care, balance digital life, and contribute to social well-being, all while exploring your spiritual path and integrating it into your daily life. Take back your power, embrace self-discovery, and pave the way to your best life. Your pursuit of happiness begins with loving yourself, and the pursuit of you will show you the way. The Pursuit of You. Open your eyes in the pursuit of happiness. From author Kamal Mystery is available on Amazon and Kindle, paperback, and audiobook. Order your copy right now and begin your journey today to unlock the path to a life of fulfillment and well-being. The Pursuit of You from author Kamal Mystery on Amazon. Are you in need of a little encouragement? Are you searching for a spark of intrigue? Could you use a good laugh? Then check out Genesis-Revelation.life. Genesis-Revelation.life is your go-to destination for unique and heartfelt designs that resonate with your spirit. Picture this: thousands of meticulously crafted items, each one with a personal touch, from the whimsical to the profound. The designs at Genesis-Revelation.life cover a wide spectrum, ensuring there's something for everyone. Whether you're drawn to the warmth of Scripture or prefer non-scripture items, they've got you covered. T-shirts, leggings, totes, headbands, crossbody bags, blankets, journals, napkins, aprons, coasters, drinkware, and that's just the beginning. But what sets Genesis-Revelation.life apart from the rest is simple: a sprinkle of humor, a dash of intrigue, and a layer of comfort. Each design tells a story, seeking to connect with you on a deeper level. In a world that often feels impersonal, Genesis-Revelation.life stands out as a place where every item is designed with heart and soul. Tell your story with these unique designs. Shop now and let your spirit shine. And make sure to share the store on all your social media so your friends can discover Genesis-Revelation.life too. Genesis-Revelation.life, where every design is a connection waiting to happen. Start shopping right now. Genesis-Revelation.life. Are you ready to embark on a cosmic journey of self-discovery? Then order your copy of Game of Threads, the Cosmic Compass Companion Book from author Aileen Hanley. Available for free online at aileenhanley.lpages.co. In Game of Threads, meet March, a young woman who feels lost in a vast world as she navigates her way from inadequacy to empowerment, from confusion to clarity, and from fear to love. Game of Threads is a soulful story of reconnection, self-trust, and the magic of opening one's heart to new possibilities. Let the mysterious compass guide you on your own journey of self-realization. Order your free copy right now online at aileenhanley.lpages.co. That's aileenhanley.lpages.co, and discover the power within and embrace the cosmic adventure that awaits you in Game of Threads, the Cosmic Compass Companion Book. Order your copy right now at aileenhanley.lpages.co. Are you thinking about plastic surgery? Stop until you listen to Plastic Surgery Uncensored, hosted by Beverly Hills award-winning plastic surgeon Dr. Roddy Raban. Plastic surgery is more popular than ever, but it does come with inherent dangers. Dr. Roddy Raban sheds light on plastic surgery's risks, addressing poorly trained doctors and unregulated procedures that could lead to life-changing choices. On Plastic Surgery Uncensored, Dr. Roddy Raban provides unfiltered insights that every patient wishes they knew before going under the knife. Show topics include the repercussions of liposuction, the secrets behind tummy tucks, and navigating life and facelifts. Dr. Roddy Raban shares valuable information from pre- and post-surgical details to potential consequences like blood clot risks during a tummy tuck. Dr. Roddy Raban is the go-to expert for many media outlets, including The Doctor Show, TMZ, Access Hollywood, KTLA, and more. Dr. Roddy Raban also has expert guests, including actress Rosalind Sanchez, actress, supermodel, and mom extraordinaire Molly Sims, fitness expert and creator of P90X, Tony Horton, and patients like the Smith couple who had facelifts in their 50s after significant weight loss. How did this impact their marriage? Find out when you listen to Plastic Surgery Uncensored with Dr. Roddy Raban, available on Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Podcast, and all other podcast platforms. Plastic Surgery Uncensored is a must-listen-to podcast before having any cosmetic surgery. Plastic Surgery Uncensored with award-winning Beverly Hills plastic surgeon Dr. Roddy Raban. Start listening right now.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast. Broadcasting from sunny South Florida, Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. So before we move on, because Trump just made a beautiful announcement today, which would have been what we started with if it wasn't for this Candace Owens stuff, I just wanted to play this little gossip thing. This is Dave Rubin talking about why he is no longer friends with Candace Owens, which I thought was a little strange.
First off, the cleanest way I can tell you this is that when Candace started getting real famous and the Kanye thing happened and everything else, one day out of nowhere, she unfollowed me on Twitter. So I had sort of helped her get to a certain extent, and then she unfollowed a bunch of people. Like, she had a bunch of people that she followed, and then she unfollowed me. So I took that sort of as like a mark of just like, and I'm not trying to create shit here. I really am not, actually. But I just kind of took that as a mark of like, oh, like, there is a limit to our friendship. Like, it was sort of transactional for you to a degree. Then, I don't know, a couple of years ago, she changed her phone number and didn't tell me. I needed to contact her about something, and I had to go around a way. So it's like, I don't know, if you were friends with someone, would you be doing that? But again, I'm not doing this for drama purposes. I'm doing this to clean up some of the nonsense around this. Now, have I agreed with her positions on Israel and Gaza? Obviously not. Obviously not. She's gotten into it with me on Twitter a couple times. I would say in a fairly disrespectful way when if you are friends with someone, you can take it offline and deal with it that way. So that's really what I meant by that. By the way, I take no pleasure in that. I'm just telling you the reality as it is. I would also say that, you know, one of the things that I think helped me stay sane throughout all this, because, you know, friends come and go and fame comes and go and clicks come and go and all of that stuff, is that I have friends from before all.
Wow. So Dave Rubin's kind of on the Dave Rubin may be on the out with a lot of people because he became a never Trumper. So a lot of people have dropped him.
This is a guy, he's interjecting himself into this drama to be relevant. Nobody cares. Yeah. And you're right. He's lost some, he's on the outs.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get back in. This is what happened with Glenn Beck.
Yeah.
What happened with a lot of people.
Because he got on that DeSantis train.
He got on the DeSantis train.
Yeah.
Like Glenn Beck on the Ted Cruz train, and now he's trying to get back in, but it's not that easy. And now he's trying to interject himself into this to get people talking about him.
Never trust a never Trumper. And I just want to play this last clip here.
But I put a poll up, though, on your channel.
Yeah.
If you go to the community section, do you support Candace Owens? Your choices are yes, Shapiro is a jerk, no, glad he fired her, and Candace who? Yeah, those are your three choices. Okay. So please take our poll.
So this I want to play. This is Candace Owens put up a little short video after she was terminated from the Daily Wire.
Rumors are true. I am free. Welcome to my locals page. So much to talk about. Obviously, I'm going to take a couple of weeks here just to rebuild and to refocus and to create something that is actually mine and something that can't be threatened or taken because it belongs to me. I can't tell you enough how much your support has meant to me over the years. We're just getting started. Join the locals page. Obviously here you can support me and my work as an independent journalist, as an independent podcaster. We're still going to be doing 5 days a week. There'll be tons of announcements coming in the next couple of weeks. And I guess the last thing I want to say is thank you. And for those of you that don't want to be on locals and just want to support in any capacity, you can head to gocandace.com. Thank you guys.
Okay. So, you know, this move that she's doing and a lot of people are doing it, and that is becoming independent. Like Tucker started this new thing about being independent.
Kelly.
Well, Megyn Kelly, she is on Sirius Satellite Radio. So I don't know how independent I know she says she is, and she's been trashing Trump. I don't like, but Tucker's gone independent. Others have. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty much on my own. Not completely. I do the radio show with Steve Kane, but you know, there's a certain thing to be independent. And
no, I think you and this show are totally independent. Nobody's telling us what to say or do.
No, but I like this new trend that's going on of, you know, because the way it used to be, everyone wanted, okay, I want to work for Breitbart. I want to work for this. And I like the idea that people are independent because
so do you think this is the end of these big media conglomerates? You think people are trusting them less?
Any time you get some type of big media company together, and finances get involved, there's always going to be problems. I mean, that's the way it is.
How is the Daily Wire different than Fox News now? Or, you know what I mean? Once they get so big and have so much money, they have other conversations than they normally would if they were just starting out. The whole dynamic changes.
There's a couple people I really like on Newsmax, right? Greg Kelly and Rob Schmidt. I think
love him.
Rob Schmidt and Greg Kelly are the two greatest guys ever in K. I love them both. But Newsmax is like pro-Ukraine war. And they want us involved in the Ukraine war, and that's turned me off of them a lot. Okay, now, President Trump just today announced something different, just amazing. When I was on the air this morning, I was talking about these billionaires that are putting together a fundraiser to pay off Letitia James, the Trump bond. And towards the end of the show this morning, people were saying, well, what's going to happen if he doesn't do it? And I said, I'm not worried. Trump is just amazing, and he'll have this worked out. Well, then President Trump posted today on True Social. Listen to this. The New York Attorney General used a statute to go after me that has never been used before, not once, for such a purpose. It, in and of itself, is so unconstitutional, unfair. Under this statute, I get no jury, no rights. All decisions are given to, in this case, to a corrupt Trump-hating judge. So, all that's right. I mean, what's happening to him is insane. He shouldn't have to pay 10 cents. So then later in the morning, he posted this on his Truth Social. Through hard work, talent, and luck, I currently have almost $500 million in cash, a substantial amount of which I intended to use in my campaign for president. The often overturned political hack judge and the corrupt AG case where I have done nothing wrong knew this. They wanted to take it away from me. And that's where and why he came up with the shocking number, which, coupled with his crazy interest demand, is approximately $454,000. I did nothing wrong. But anyway,
the city does need money.
So
they need money desperately.
So President Trump is telling us he's got the money to pay it now.
Of course
he's got the money.
And these liberals fantasizing. Well, I heard on CNN, and you played this morning, of them fantasizing over seizing his home. Then, of course, they're telling you it's worth a couple $100 million.
Yeah.
I mean, these people are sickening.
So he's got the money, okay, and he's just made a deal where he's going to come into billions more. Listen to this. This came out today. Shareholders today voted to make Trump Media and Technology Group the parent company of Truth Social, a publicly traded company. This could net Trump a windfall of $4 billion.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's right. So he already has $500 million in cash. But he's got this deal he just made. So
when one door closes, another one opens.
Yeah. So
that's how it works.
He's got the money. By the way, the merger just so you guys know, this is an important thing here. There's a merger going on with the Trump Media Technology Group and all this stuff with True Social. So the merger, this is beautiful. Listen to this. The merger approval means that TMTG, that's Trump Media and Technology Group, will now trade on the NASDAQ as DJT as early as next week. DJT. So Donald Trump's going to have his initials on the stock market there on the NASDAQ. So this is we're just in an amazing time now. This is, look, it's amazing. That's why I keep talking about the Trump miracle. They come up with this $500 million judgment. He's got the money. He just made another multi-billion-dollar deal today.
It's not really a miracle. It's that he's smart. He's a genius.
He is that.
He's got business acumen. And the press want you to think that this guy's a moron when he is as sharp as a tack when it comes to business, especially. This is a guy who has worked with all kinds of people, dealt with everybody from all walks of life, from the poorest people to the richest, to the most honest to the most dishonest. He's worked with them all. He's dealt with them all. And he just has so much confidence in himself and his abilities. He always finds a way. Like I said, one door closes, another one opens. That's the way it's been his whole life. So he has that confidence that everything's always going to work out because he has that ability and he has confidence. A lot of people don't have that. He has confidence in his own abilities to find a path if he has to. And he always finds a path. There's always a way for him.
And you know what? All these liberal fantasies that he's not going to be president, he's going to be in prison. These very, very wealthy people on the boards of directors and all this of these companies and at the NAS, they would not have done this deal and put DJT as the stock symbol if they thought he was going to prison and not going to be president.
Now, what else is going to be under this umbrella of DJT,
I don't know.
this media
company?
We'll find out. Very interesting. He should put his son, Don Jr., in charge of this.
Yeah.
And that would be amazing.
I'm excited about it. Okay, so, I love Marjorie Taylor Greene. If you guys heard me interview Marjorie Taylor Greene, you could tell I love Marjorie Taylor Greene. I bet you that was like the best interview she's ever done that I did with her because, it was pretty good. It was pretty good, I must say. I was so excited to talk to her and everything. We had a great conversation.
Yeah,
but anyway,
awesome.
She filed a motion today to get rid of Mike Johnson as speaker. And
that didn't last long.
Mike Johnson just made this deal with the Democrats passing this spending bill. I don't get myself too focused in on these spending bills too much, but this is ridiculous. He should have shut down the government and not signed anything. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, she went on One American News and she talked about it a little bit. So this is MTG today.
Congresswoman, you've taken a very serious step here to change perhaps the course of your conference and the House of Representatives. What seems to be going on?
Well, this is a complete betrayal of Republican voters across the country. I entered the motion to vacate this morning after Mike Johnson brought part 2 of an omnibus to the House floor this morning and forced all of us to vote on a bill that would fund abortion up until full term, that doesn't do anything to secure our border. And this comes after people are seeing this video that's horrifying to every single American, where there's a large group of military-age men, illegals, rushing the border, running over Border Patrol, running over the National Guard. Speaker Johnson totally gave up every ounce of authority he had as House Speaker to use this funding of the government to secure the border for the American people, and it is way past time. He also violated the 72-hour rule. He forced all of us to vote on a bill without amendments. We had no choice. We couldn't introduce amendments. We couldn't fight for the values of our districts. And we had to vote on a bill in one day that had 1,012 pages. These are breaking our conference rules. This is not what Republicans want from a Republican Speaker of the House. And he's basically handed over control to Chuck Schumer.
Okay.
Incredible.
Now, and she's right. Everything she says right.
What is wrong with these?
They're all on the take. They're all on the take. They're fake.
You can't trust any of them.
I told you when Mike Johnson came out, his hair was too perfect, and I just didn't like this guy.
There's 3 people in Congress I trust: her, Matt Gaetz, and Jim Jordan. And even Jim Jordan sometimes is a little.
That's it.
You're not sure, but those 3 are about it.
When we take over. Because we're gonna have huge victories. We already control the House, but by these, I think by 3 seats now because of all these resignations, and then they got rid of the guy. We're gonna have a massive majority after this election.
I would think
and I hope that the Speaker of the House is Marjorie Taylor Greene.
That would be amazing.
She would be the best Speaker of the House ever.
She wouldn't take any bull from anybody.
No, she'd be tough.
She would have.
She'd
the
be
Trump
so
agenda,
tough.
the American agenda, absolutely.
You would never have to worry with Marjorie Taylor Greene as Speaker of the House. That would be so amazing.
Yeah, but she would never get the votes.
That's where I think you're wrong.
You think so?
Because we're going to have a MAGA majority, hardcore in the House, and President Trump's going to be back in the White House. So I think it's very possible. It's probably more likely Jim Jordan out of the 2 of them. But I would love it if she became the Speaker.
I like Jim Jordan, but I think he, too, is susceptible to being manipulated.
He's been there too long in Washington.
Yeah.
I like him, but, and Trump loves him. He's always with Trump at all the rallies.
There's some weak links, I think, that he's vulnerable.
Yeah, this thing, though, that she referenced that happened at the border yesterday where these young military men,
I saw
they didn't just rush the border where the Texas National Guard were. They overran them. And I think that was a test. I think those men were a test, and I think that was a coordinated attack on the Texas National Guard at the border to see if they could get.
They are trying to do.
They were trying to see if they would shoot.
But what do you think is the end game? I know we've talked about the replacement theory. I think it's beyond that. What is the end game? This invasion that's being allowed. What do you think is
a bunch of things.
The end game of this?
It's a bunch of things. Everything they're doing, the border, all this gender stuff they push through TikTok, whatever it is, they're causing chaos and division among the American people. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's just it's just nonstop psych ops.
It is
on the American people to keep us
the media is right in there with it.
Not just distracted, but they want the American people at each other's throats, and that's what's going on. They're causing these major divisions. That's a
house that is divided cannot stand.
Exactly. So we can't stand up against them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. They don't want the American people to come together and realize how crooked they are, and be collectively thinking on those same terms. It's better for them to divide and conquer. I mean, that's their strategy, and it's been a working strategy. And you see people.
Yeah.
I mean, I see videos on TikTok and other things of people on the streets with road rage and people fighting over the silliest. They're just angry all the time.
And
the media plays a big part of that.
And this just broke since we started the show. I just didn't get to this yet because we're talking about Candace Owens. The Republicans, we have a 217 to 213 majority, right? 4-seat majority, but somebody had resigned, so it's going to be 3. Another Republican, Mike Gallagher, Republican from Wisconsin, he's resigning.
What the hell?
The Democrats could end up with the speakership before the end of the year if these.
Well, they want to put Hakeem Jeffries in there.
A lot of this has to do with the fact that.
Why did that guy say he's stepping down?
I don't know. I don't whatever they say, don't believe it. This is a lot of what's going on. Okay.
Incredible.
People rarely leave Congress, okay, on their own. So. We're going to have this massive MAGA majority coming in, and a lot of these guys are very easy to get bought off because they're in Congress now. They may not be there next year. They're all up in the House. So they offer them like some fake job,
That's lucrative.
And that's very lucrative. Yeah, exactly. Like Paul Ryan leaves, and all of a sudden he's on the board of directors at News Corp, right? They offer them these jobs.
Or president of a university or something like that.
And think about, and I'm not saying this is tied to what happened today, but this bill today, how much money did they steal for donors out of that? And so it's worth it to them to give some guy a job making $15 million a year with some fake job for the rest of his life
so disheartening.
To get a bill passed. Do you understand what I mean?
You have Americans that are the hardest working people in the world. It's true. I mean, if you travel the world, and there's no other country where the people work like we do. They take a 4-hour rest in Italy in the middle of the day. The other countries are much more laid back and this and that, but Americans work so hard, are so generous with everything. People need help. They reach in their pocket, they give money. They don't even think about it. It's a Christian nation, and we're just such nice, hardworking, generous people overall, and all they do is take advantage of us and screw us over, and it really upsets people, and I think that's why Trump is doing so well.
Absolutely.
Because I think people see him getting screwed over, and they relate to that. And they're like, you know what? They're screwing me too.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe not at the same level, but I feel your pain.
Yeah.
And that's what people on the left do not understand. And I retweeted Frank Luntz with his toupee. We're on CNN. And he said, if they start seizing his properties, you're going to help him even more because you're going to keep making him a victim. And the people are going to sympathize with him. Well, and know that it's a conspiracy. Well, we already know it's a conspiracy, Frank. We don't need his property to be seized to know that. We know which way the wind blows. We're not stupid.
Now, I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. And if you would like to support the program by becoming a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode. And there's many perks and benefits of becoming a Patreon supporter. One of those is those who are top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout out on every podcast episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, John, Paulette, Carlos, Mike P., Macho, Wesley, Nick, Rick, ActicFox, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, George, Constance, Shawna, LeeZep, and K-Mac. These are our top Patreon supporters. We're going to take our last break, and we'll be right back after this. Don't go anywhere.
Cherish the memories of your loved ones with a resting place crafted with care and compassion with the Vermont Urn Company on Etsy.com. Everything at the Vermont Urn Company on Etsy.com is handcrafted by an artisan with over 35 years of experience in the casket and urn industry. They're family-owned and proudly local, ensuring your experience is both personal and meaningful. When you visit the Vermont Urn Company on Etsy, you'll find a wide range of urns that reflect your loved one's life and interest. From military and nature themes to birds, religious, nautical, public service, patriotic, and more. Each piece is handcrafted with care, customizable, and made right here in the United States. Use the promo code RADIO at checkout and save 10% off your purchase. Preserve the memories that matter most. Visit the shop right now on Etsy at etsy.com/shop/the Vermont Urn Co. That's etsy.com/shop/the Vermont Urn Co. The Vermont Urn Company, where every urn is a symbol of love, respect, and lasting memories. Etsy.com/shop/the Vermont Urn Co. Journey to the heart of Texas with Echoes of Grace from author Roxy Curry. In this deeply personal memoir, the author shares her story of faith, challenges, and the transformative path to healing. Roxy's journey leads to unexpected places, but through it all, God's grace shines like a bright light, providing direction and comfort. Echoes of Grace is a testament that even when our choices deviate from the planned path, grace is a constant presence. In Echoes of Grace, the author unveils vulnerabilities and strength, and also celebrates self-discovery. It's about accepting imperfections, finding strength within, and embracing every aspect of who she is, the good, the tough, and everything in between. Echoes of Grace illuminates the incredible power of faith and God's enduring grace. Echoes of Grace from author Roxy Curry is available on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, hardcover, and Kindle Unlimited. Echoes of Grace from author Roxy Curry. Order your copy right now on Amazon. The new book from author Roxy Curry is now available on Amazon. Should I Stay or Should I Go? Your faith-based guide to overcoming narcissistic relationships. Guided by her unwavering light of faith and personal wisdom, the author's goal for this book is to help you navigate the confusion and pain caused by covert narcissists, especially within the context of Christian values. Author Roxy Curry draws from her personal struggles, offering hard-earned insights that empower readers to make pivotal choices between enduring the storm or seeking a new beginning. In Should I Stay or Should I Go? Perseverance, faith, and actionable advice converge to guide you through the challenges of a narcissistic relationship. In this must-read book, you'll learn how to identify the imperceptible chains that narcissists craft through manipulation and their force of personality, as well as how these bonds can be shattered by the hammers of prayer, self-reflection, and empowered courage. Author Roxy Curry's first book, Echoes of Grace, was her memoir that chronicled her personal struggles and successes. At its heart lies a complex relationship with Victor, testing her beliefs and resilience. Through her unwavering faith, she emerged with a renewed sense of self and a profound understanding of God's grace. Should I Stay or Should I Go? Your faith-based guide to overcoming narcissistic relationships from author Roxy Curry is available on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover. Order your copy right now and reclaim your faith, your courage, and your self-worth. Men, are you tired of looking tired? You can turn your tired eyes into a vibrant and refreshed look with a specially formulated under-eye cream for men at Amazon.com/shops/Meditati. That's MEDITATI. This anti-aging formula is designed to repair and protect your eyes against the common signs of aging. Dark circles, puffiness, and those pesky crow's feet gone. With Meditati, you'll say goodbye to those tired eyes and hello to a youthful appearance. It's packed with peptides, vitamin vitamin C, jojoba oil, green tea, CoQ10, and other essential ingredients. This formula will keep your under eyes bright and refreshed. It also keeps your skin hydrated with the highest quality natural and organic ingredients. It's crafted by skincare experts, and this non-greasy, lightweight formula absorbs quickly and efficiently, nourishing the skin around your eyes. So if you're tired of puffiness and wrinkles, go right now to Amazon.com/shops/Meditati. That's MEDITATI. Don't miss out on this chance to give your eyes the care they deserve, because you and your eyes deserve it. Amazon.com/shops/Meditati.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Kathy with Brian, and the poll I put up has had already 170 votes. I just put this up like 15 minutes ago. Do you support Candace Owens? Your choices are yes, Shapiro is a jerk, no, glad he fired her, and Candace who? We have 170 votes. 68% say Shapiro is a jerk. They support her. 14% said Candace who, and 18% said no, glad he fired her. So go to Brian's community section of his YouTube page and take the poll.
Okay.
And we'll see how this goes over the weekend.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens.
Maybe I'll read the results over the weekend sometime on one of my
Some of your polls get like 4,000 or 5,000 votes. So go vote in this poll.
Yeah. Okay. So this border attack that happened down in Texas yesterday, Joe Scarborough on Morning Joe here, who I always think he looks like Odo from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, has the face, like the shapeshifter, Joe Scarborough.
He has a weird face.
He blames the border invasion not on Biden but on Trump.
Oh, of course.
If I were a Democrat running for office, I would do this. I would be carrying this around all day. Look at what the Republicans are doing to you.
Now he's holding up the New York Post with the attack on the Texas National Guardsmen at the border by the illegals.
Look what Donald Trump's doing to you. Donald Trump said, and by the way, this is for you at home. So come to the at-home camera, TJ. Thank you. God bless you.
Can you imagine what it's like working for this jerk-off?
No. I never hear anybody else. Well, monster. I don't watch his show. Do other people get to talk? He interrupts his wife every 2 seconds.
So good at this. And to think you just started last week. So I'm joking, TJ. So, TJ, can I get a TJ cam? I hope TJ's in.
Not yet. Not the second.
Okay, good.
Wow.
Okay, good.
He's not feeling pretty. I guess TJ's going to get fired soon.
Underwear at home.
Yeah, I hope it works out better for TJ than it did that intern.
He said TJ just started last week. I imagine he goes through cameramen like you go through Kleenex.
One of those things at home. I was afraid I was like picking on a director that mattered, but no, TJ's there.
TJ doesn't matter? Afraid I was picking on a director that mattered? No, TJ doesn't matter. Is that what he just said?
He is such a horrible...
Is that what he just said?
Play it again.
Picking
He's
on
horrible.
a director that mattered, but no, TJ's there.
Wow, what a monster.
Yeah, he is.
What a monster.
He's a horrible person.
People don't matter to him?
Why do people tolerate him? He's clearly abusive towards his wife. I've seen the way he talks to her. He's verbally abusive, on camera, on TV. You can see it. It's not hidden. But why do you think people put up with this guy? I guess because they're on TV and he knows it. They're not. You know what I mean? Would you put up with that?
No,
I wouldn't either.
TJ's been with us for 20 years, by the way. He's family, but
but he doesn't matter like the director. He's not important.
Oh my goodness!
I would carry this around because see this onslaught headline. The only thing the Post didn't tell you is Donald Trump said, "Blame me for this." Donald Trump said, kill the bill and blame me for everything that happens after this point. Donald Trump said, blame me. So yes, Donald, we are blaming you. We're blaming Mini-Me Mike Johnson for following your orders. We're blaming Republicans who begged for a tough border bill.
Okay. Now, the reason I played this is because this is what this little monologue that he's doing is a direct result of his last conversation with Biden. right? Because, this is Biden and talking to him and telling him what to say. He talks to Biden every night. They say, that attack on President Trump has not been in the White House for 3 years, over 3 years. There's nothing that's his fault that's going on in the government right now. And that attack.
And everybody knows that.
That attack at the southern border yesterday, as I was saying earlier, was, I believe, a test to find out what the reaction would be of the soldiers. Would they shoot? Mm-hmm. Would they hit? Would they use the butts of their rifles? And what did they do? They did nothing. They were overwhelmed and outnumbered, but they were pushed out of the way by these guys. It was a test of their resolve, their reaction, and the security of our border, and it failed. And for the life of me, for anyone, this bill they're talking about, that was just another scam to steal money for themselves and donors. One of the things Biden wanted to do in that is they have some new detection machines that can detect fentanyl apparently on people's bodies. How much do those machines cost each? $500,000 each? How many of them were they going to buy with that? But you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So, they've got this idea that if we just had this border bill, we could solve they have everything already. We've got an Army, a Navy, a Marine Corps, a Space Force. We've got a wall that's almost done.
They really think,
we've got everything to protect the borders.
They really think the American people are so stupid.
They do, yes.
That they're actually going to believe that the border problem is Trump's fault.
That's correct.
That Biden letting in millions and millions of illegals over the last 3 years is because of Trump.
That's right.
They really think people are going to believe that BS.
They do. Yeah.
Well, then they're the ones who are stupid. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We all know what's happening. We all know whose fault it is. We're not stupid. And you're going to hear a lot of doozies over the next few months because of the election, because they're panicked. I saw on that interactive polls, I retweeted it. Trump is ahead in 6 swing states by 5 or 6 points each ahead of Biden. Believe me, they do internal polls. They know Biden's a disaster, and they're trying to convince you. MSNBC just lies. They just flat out lie to you. I mean, Jessica Tarloff, I saw on Twitter, she actually took a retraction of something she said about that guy that was in Congress, Bob Alinsky. And people were giving her a hard time. I said, hey, at least she came out and admitted it and said she was wrong or lied or whatever. You never hear somebody in the news ever do that. They'll tell you a lie and then it gets found out they lied. They move on. They move on to the next lie. They never say, we're sorry, we lied to you, we weren't honest. These people are sickening. They're pure evil is what I call them. They are knowingly, Joe Scarborough knows this is bullshit. I'm sorry. He knows it deep down, but he hates Trump. Yeah. It's personal. And now they're saying that Chris Christie might run as a third-party candidate.
Oh, good.
And that was just on Twitter. Good. He did an interview.
Let him.
And he said he will do everything in his power to stop Trump. Something happened between those two because this is personal. I retweeted it. There was an interview. Yeah. This is personal with Chris Christie. And he doesn't care about the country. He doesn't care about you or me. Trump didn't give him something he wanted, and now he's out for blood. And now he's going to run as a third party to muck it up.
Some people think he wanted to be attorney general or something.
Something happened that pissed him off. Good luck, Chris. I mean, but they're going to run a third party person. I promise you. It's going to happen, but it's not going to work.
This is Jake Tapper wearing those smart glasses he wears. Glasses. And what I mean by smart glasses, he wears glasses that he thinks makes him look smart when he wears them because he's such an idiot. This is CNN's Jake Tapper talking about.
Is that something that you are considering?
Oh, by the way, and he's playing a clip. It's David Axelrod interviewing Chris Christie, and I'll talk about that in a second.
Is that something that you are considering? I think the way I would look at it is I will do whatever I can to try to make sure that the country doesn't go through what I think will be the misery of a second Trump term. I wouldn't preclude
Give me a break.
At this point, David, we've got the most unsettled political terrain we've ever had.
Okay, now
is that something that you...
Okay, now this thing with David Axelrod. David Axelrod is a real scummy guy, okay? And just to give you a little background on him, he's based out of Chicago. He was senior advisor to Obama when Obama was president. David Axelrod is the one who got Herman Cain's sugar baby interviewed on television. Remember, there was a white woman who said that Herman Cain was her sugar daddy. And this is when Herman Cain was running for president and stuff, and he was like thought that he might get the nomination, was a big deal. This woman that made the claims coincidentally lived in the same building as David Axelrod. What a coincidence, huh? You got to wonder, was she a honeypot? I don't know. But David Axelrod is now working with Chris Christie. He's a top Obama operative.
Exactly.
What does that tell you about Chris Christie?
Their plan is to they're definitely going to run a third party person. They got to pick the right person.
That's the wrong one.
They have to. It won't be him. It's going to be Nikki Haley, and their whole excuse will be they're going to save the country from Trump and Biden.
And the voters that have just given him the nomination.
They are definitely going to run a third party, and they're going to try to do another Ross Perot.
Good, do it.
So I'm telling you guys, if you don't like Trump and you voted for Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis or somebody else, if you vote for a third party person, you might as well just flush the country down the toilet. Okay? I mean, you are helping Biden, and you're knowingly helping Biden, but I know that's what they're going to do. They're planning it already. He's letting the cat out of the bag.
So they got a third-party guy.
We've been talking about this for months.
So CNN and MSNBC, they're going to have Chris Christie all over the place about a third party. They won't interview Robert Kennedy Jr., who's running third party against Biden. But those that run third party against Trump, they're going to just fill the airwaves like they used to do with Stormy Daniels' attorney, Michael Avenatti. Well, listen, we're out of time for today. We will be back next time. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks for listening.